All right, how's everybody doing out there today in Math Magic Land? This is Mr. Muscarella coming at you. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to write polynomials in both factored form and standard form when you are given the roots. And these roots, they're going to be ones that are rational. So let's take a look at this first example here where we've got a polynomial function f of x. The zeros are given as x equals 2, x equals -3, and x equals 1. What would it be in factored form? What's polynomial in standard form? So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take each one of these zeros. So we're going to write down f of x because that's what they tell us the function is. And when you have the zero, remember, you have to switch the sign to come up with a factor. So if I have x equals 2 as a 0, that means x minus 2 would be the factor. And similarly, x equals -3, if that's a 0, then switch the sign. That's going to be x plus 3 for your factor. And then lastly, x equals 1 is going to give us the factor x minus 1. So that very first step, that gives us the factored form. Now the second step, what I want to do here is I'm going to take these first two terms, these binomials right here, and we're going to multiply those binomials together. So I'm going to multiply the binomials together, the first two binomials. And when we do that, so again, we want to keep our work nice and neat and organized. So if I multiply x minus 2 times quantity x plus 3, those two binomials are going to give me x squared plus x minus 6. And then don't forget, bring down your other binomial, or your other, binomial, x minus 1. We're moving along and we're going to get this in standard form, but what we're going to do next is we're going to organize this in a way. We're going to multiply the trinomial, the x squared plus x minus 6. We're going to multiply that by the very first term, which is x. When I do that, so x squared times x is going to give me x cubed. All right, so I got x cubed. X squared times x gives me x cubed. Now, next, I'm going to take the x and also multiply that by the other x. So in that case, I'm going to get a plus x squared. And then I'm going to have this minus 6. When I multiply that by the x, I'll get negative 6x. So that's the very first thing. We're going to take that trinomial and we're going to multiply it by x. So that was what we did first. Now, what we're going to do next is take that trinomial again, and this time we're going to multiply it by -1. So that trinomial, right, we're going to multiply that by -1. So the other term in that binomial. And when I do that, I'm going to get x squared times -1. X squared times -1, and that's just going to give me negative x squared. And when I have x times -1, that's going to give me minus x. And lastly, we've got -6 times -1, which gives me positive 6. So be careful there. Watch your signs. Watch your signs. So that was the first three steps. Now the fourth step, all right, or maybe the fifth, depending on which way you want to think about that. So if we would have labeled this line here fourth step, so then our fifth step is going to be our standard form polynomial here. So this is where we're going to get our polynomial in standard form from all of our multiplying. And again, sometimes people use a box method or whatever, but here we go. Now, technical stuff, make sure you have f of x equals, because that's the name of our function. And if I combine these terms previously, if I add them up, and that's why I like to do it in this technique, because everything's lined up nice and easily, I'll end up with x cubed. Now the x squareds, they happen to cancel out, so that's cool. I don't have to worry about them. And then -6x minus x gives me minus 7x, and then plus 6. So that's the standard form of my polynomial with zeros of x equals 2, x equals -3, and x equals 1. But I'm not done there, because I want to check it myself to make sure I don't wreck myself by doing some careless arithmetic mistake, right? So the sixth thing that we're going to do is we're going to check this thing using Desmos or a graphing calculator. Either way, anything you want to use to check it, go ahead and do that. So I'm going to show you how to check that very quickly in a moment here. So let's go to the Desmos. Once you get to the Desmos, you're going to type in that factored form that we had. In the factored form, again, so there's our factored form right here. And let's kind of take a look at this, and because Desmos is really cool, they give us some things here. So -3, 0, yes, that was one of our zeros. that we were given. 1, 0 was another 0 that we were given, as was 2, 0. All right, so when we were told in the beginning you have zeros at these values, we can use Desmos to verify that to make sure I got my factors correct as well. Now the polynomial that I came up with on this was x cubed, so x and then our little caret button and then the 3, so x cubed, and then my other term was negative 7x and plus 6. So I'm going to take that trinomial, x cubed minus 7x plus 6, and that is going to go into our second spot here, negative 7x plus 6. And you'll notice they line up right on top of one another. So there's no, and if I were to kind of turn off the other one, you'll see it's just the blue one. In this case, it's blue, so we've got that to work with. But both of these have the same characteristics. They're exactly the same graph. Come on, Desmos, stop moving. So that's how I know, like, yes, I did this correctly. So this meets the criteria of my function. I have the correct zeros, so that checks out. My factored form, that checks out. And my standard form also checks out. So all three of those things are verified from using Desmos. All right, that's it for this video. You guys come back, check out the next video. That's going to be the next example if you want. But that's it for this. Thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you later. Peace.